Hello again, everybody. Dr. David Wank here from Short Hills Design, and today I want to talk to you about a Google Tag Manager. Now, with all of the obvious concern about moving to Google Analytics 4, everybody's talking about doing it with Tag Manager, and Tag Manager is overwhelming if you haven't looked at it before and if you haven't used it before, and it's really not. So the good news about Tag Manager is that it can be super simple, which I'm going to show you today, or it can be obscenely complex, which I'm not going to show you today, because fortunately for this level, we don't need to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a WordPress website. We're just going to jump right in. Here's a website I have, clickupwebtemplates.com. And we have a pretty cool web development template that we use for ClickUp. It's $10, but it's our basic site. And we just put this out a couple of days ago. And I saved this site. It has no analytics on it, no tag manager, no nothing. Now, let me just check my plugins here to make sure, because we did use in the past Monster Insights. Let me just double check. And let's see, no, we're not using that. Now, SEO Press can do analytics, but it doesn't really matter, but it's not. So we're going to make the assumption that you want to use Google Tag Manager. So why do I care about Google Tag Manager? Well, obviously, if you're here, you know you need Google Tag Manager, but I'll tell you the short version is that what Tag Manager lets you do is instead of putting a million different scripts in your insert headers, footers plugin in WordPress and adding all these things to the header and the footer and the footer and the footer, Tag Manager manages it for you. It's very easy to disable them or enable them, the scripts, or any kind of other code that you want to add, and you don't have to necessarily log into WordPress to do it, which is kind of nice. If you have to change 3 or 4 sites at once, well, there are other ways to do that, but you go to Tag Manager and it's really easy to fix it without having to log in and this and that. So let's just jump right in. So here's Tag Manager, and this is our kind of training Tag Manager account. So we don't know anything about Tag Manager other than I want to use Tag Manager. And in this instance, we're going to install Google Analytics 3, Universal Analytics. Now, wait, you say, I want to do GA4. And I agree with you. We're going to do GA4 in the next video. But for now, I just want to use something that we all know well as an example, because we're going to teach you how to use Tag Manager here just to install this. And then once you understand that, it'll be a lot easier to do GA4. So let's go ahead and create an account. And let's just use so the account is going to be, listen, if you have your own account, like Short Hills Design, for example, let's do that. Short Hills Design. And then what you can do, sure, why not? And what you can do is you can certainly have multiple containers within Short Hills Design. If you're a client, if you're doing it for a client and they have one website, you might do, client, and then their URL here. But let's just do clickupwebtemplates.com. I spelled that wrong. There we go. And we're going to do web. So let's go ahead and create. And of course, you will read your standard data processing agreement. And there we go. So now what we have to do, there we go. So here's the Tag Manager code. Now, one way you could do it is you could certainly jump into the code underlying your WordPress, go into your header and your footer.php templates, and add these things. But the easier way to do it is with the insert header and footer tag. And that's what a lot of you will probably be doing, because this is supposed to be introductory level. So let's just go ahead and add that plugin. Oh, it's installed already. Well, if you didn't have it installed, you'd come here to install it. Let's come to settings and then insert headers and footers. There it is. Now, what do I have in here? Anything? No. Excellent. Good. So what we're going to do now is install Tag Manager. Now, if you, in the past, let's say we wanted to install some scripts. Okay, let's put a call track. We're going to go like this. Obviously, we'll cut and paste, right? We're going to have a script, and then we're going to have some stuff in the middle, and then we're going to have, another script and another script. And we have all these scripts sitting here. Oh, which one controlled that? Oh, it gets messy. So anyway, and you can't control where they live. If you have this script, I can't say, well, just launch this script on my home page and put this script on the about page, and only on my, my 10 e-commerce pages do that one. So Tag Manager can let you do that. There are obviously other, I think, advanced scripts on other plugins, and it's escaping me now what we use. I think it's Advanced Scripts Pro or something like that, but we use it with our Oxygen builds, and it's cool because it does let you fine-tune what scripts get loaded where. But again, that's more advanced. Let's just stick with the basics right now, because my goal is here, again, to show you how to use Tag Manager so you're eventually comfortable using it with Google Analytics 4. So let's come over here to Tag Manager. Let us copy the head. And let's come over here, and we want it immediately after the opening body tag. And let's put that right there. Awesome. And now let us save this. So we can see, let's just purge the cache, and let's take a look and see if our tag manager code is there. Now, obviously, there's a more fun way to do this because we can actually add some code to see. But let's just see here, tag. Maybe our cache isn't flushed enough, so I don't see it. But okay, that's fine. Now, why not? One of the reasons is probably because we haven't actually published a container. So that's why we don't see it. Now, we can publish an empty container, but what's the point? That's no fun. So now that we have it installed, and we know that we do, let's go ahead and test it, but we're going to test it by adding a tag. You're really never going to add a tag manager account and not add a tag. So what I want to do now is let's just add Google Analytics 3. We're going to call it just so we don't mess with it later. Now, Google is kind enough when to give us the tags that we need for their tags, so their built-in things that they want. So let's set a settings variable. No problem. So now a variable is something if you want to use it a bunch of times, just like in a coding language. So here, for example, if you know that you're going to use a tracking ID or you're going to use some kind of variable many, many times, you can do it with Tag Manager. Here we just do it because it's easy for analytics, but this you can just kind of do it and be done. So new variable, and we're just going to call it, here's going to be that's just my universal tracking ID, and let's call this GA3UA variable, just to keep things nice and clean. Excellent. So, and then trigger, when do I want it to launch? On all pages. So what did I just do? Let's take a look at the tags here. So I have a single tag, and that tag is my Google Analytics 3 tag. And what is it? It is a Google Analytics universal tag, and it fires on all pages. So let's take a look. So here is the title of the tag. Here is the configuration of the tag. And again, this has extra bonus configurations because it is, Google has it here, and the trigger on all pages. You certainly could have said just trigger on a home page or any page that looks like that. Now, let's do just a test tag. We're not going to publish this, but let's just say that we had some random HTML. Let's just call this random HTML. And let's come over here, because a lot of tags that you're going to find are not going to have a template for them. Custom HTML, and let's just say H2 Short Hills Design is the best, and I love their YouTube channel. Now, so let's go ahead and let's trigger that on all pages for now. Now, obviously, this did not go through yet because I did not launch. I didn't publish this container yet, but certainly I don't want this random HTML to stay. So let's just get rid of that. Abandon that change. So now we can see what have we done in this workspace. We added our GA3 tag and we added the variable. So let's go ahead and submit this. And I like to make this nice. Add it. Let's do this. Initial publish GA3 tag and variable. Excellent. Publish. Cool. It's published. So now what I'm going to do is go to analytics and let's just sit here and wait. Well, no, that's no fun either. Because what if my brand new fantastic website doesn't get any traffic right now? So what we can do is Tag Manager has something called a preview mode. So let's come back to our workspace and I want to see what this looks like. Now, again, there are other ways to do previews to see what's firing and not firing without launching tags into production. But for now, for us, this works. Let's go to preview. And it's going to say, well, what website do you want to use? So I want to use this website. Let's come back to our preview here, where I lost that. Where'd that go? Tag Assistant, there we are. Thank you. And so now let's take a look. So let's take a look. Tag Assistant connected. Debug information for this is viewable in the Assistant window. Well, where's that? Connected. Awesome. So let's hit continue. We're connected. So here we know, look at what happened. So we can see here the tag was fired. Google Analytics 3. I mean, I don't really care. The variable, you can look at the other things that are going on here, but for now, all we care about is that our tag was fired. So I know two things now. I know that Google Tag Manager is working, and I know that my analytics is working as well, the tag is working as well. This is really useful because if you did want to say, I just want to, let's say if it's a 404, and you wanted things to come up, I don't know why you wouldn't do this programmatically, but if Tag Manager, you wanted some HTML to say, and again, you wouldn't do this with Tag Manager. It's impractical. Say, hey, this is a 404. Sorry about that. you could certainly say, well, only show me pages that, where it ends in 404, and you can make that tag just go on that single page. So a couple of mistakes that people make that you should be aware of. Number one, what you'll forget to do is publish the container. So don't forget, if you make a tag like this, let's say, let's add another tag here. Let's go to overview, new tag. And now let's add a tag for tag I will forget. And let's come over here and let's pick one at random. It doesn't matter. Let's go to Google Optimize. And I put my container ID in here. And here's another example where you could use a variable, but we're not going to go there. But you could put your container ID and then trigger. So we can now create a custom trigger. So that we could say this is a special page trigger. And then over here, you get all sorts of options. So if there's a page view, some page views, and again, you can say, well, host name, path, URL. So you can do all sorts of things to specify when you want things to load or where you want things to go. But let's say we did all pages for this. I forgot what the container ID format is, but let's say we did that. You said, well, wait a minute, it's not working. How come I'm not seeing it? Probably because you forgot to submit it. So let's come here to latest version and let's take a look. And we can see here, latest version is GA3. Oh, and it looks like I never went ahead and published my, what tag did I call it? Oh, I didn't create it. My random tag that I'm going to delete. So there you go. So that's how you use Tag Manager. It is really, really powerful. And when you get to Google Analytics 4, it is not as complicated. Well, it's complicated, but don't worry. One of the things that you're going to see with Google Analytics 4 is that you are able to configure. Most people are worried about the conversions, and that you're able to configure it through Tag Manager if you're comfortable, or you can do it through the actual GA4 interface, which for beginners is what I recommend because it's a little easier that way. But getting it set up and going and installed is very easy to do with Tag Manager. Now, some people will still use Monster Insights. One of the things that I love about Monster Insights, well, I don't love the price and I don't love the intrusiveness, but I do love that if you're logged in as admin, it automatically doesn't track your stats. But there are plugins you can use. There's Go something or other, I forget the name, that you can use on your browser so you're not tracking your own data. And truth be told, for the majority of us, if you're going to a client site once or twice a month to hit something up or make a change, I'm not really worried that your 2 visits or 3 visits are going to make a really big dent in the data for that client. So anyway, there you go. That is the basics of how to use Tag Manager with WordPress. I encourage you to please subscribe to our channel, click subscribe, and please stay tuned because we're going to have a video about Google Analytics 4 coming soon. We'll probably do a basic install video just to get it going. And then we'll do another one where we configure conversions and some more of the medium beginner to intermediate steps. Google has done a strange job in setting up GA4, but I think they're also trying to make it a little bit easier. But again, the jury's still out on that one. But here's GA4. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below, and I'll do the best I can so we can answer them for you.